Hello, I'm Mithril, and welcome back to my survival let's play series. I think we're up to episode 8. So I hope you enjoyed last episode where we built the chicken farm behind me, and of course the chicken cooker to deal with the occasional raw chicken that was coming out. But it's been ticking over pretty well so far, so I've been pretty happy with it. As I mentioned at the end of last episode, high on my list is getting an enchanting table, and we've got a lot of the things we need for that apart from the paper to make the books for the bookshelves. So the plan in this episode is to get a sugarcane farm up and running, and I've kind of got a bit of a spot for it laid out here. It's going to be pretty modest. I'm not going to go too big with it. I just need enough to sort of craft the books for the enchanting table, and then I probably don't really have much of a need for it until we get to sort of if I get some elytra and sort of fireworks, or I've also seen you can kind of shoot fireworks with crossbows, so that might be fun as well, but for the time being we just need something modest to sort of get us up and running. So it's not going to be the biggest and best, but it's going to be a bit of fun. So I've been busy and collected a whole bunch of materials to build this thing out of. And to start with, we're going to build the base of it, which is where we're going to be sort of collecting the sugarcane. So the plan is to just use water streams. It's probably better if you're looking to build something sort of at scale where you don't want to be losing any of the sugarcane, to use minecarts. But given this farm's sort of around our base, I'd prefer not to have sort of that minecart sound constantly sort of running back and forward. So I'm just going to use water streams, and we'll deal with the fact that it isn't quite as efficient as it could be. But we'll see how it goes. So you see I'm just leaving some gaps here. That's deliberate, because I've also got some of that mossy sort of cobblestone, so try and sort of break it up a little bit. So this is going to be underneath the water streams, and in terms of the actual collection, for now we'll start with a chest. So we'll need some hoppers. Oh, I'm not prepared for that. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so with some hoppers and chests in hand, I think we're all set to continue. So I'm just going to put a chest in here to start with, and have a hopper feeding into that chest, and then just a hopper line running into it from each direction. Oops, I'll grab that in a minute. And perfect. And that'll end up in the chest. There we go. Oh, I better put my armor on, so I get jumped by mobs. And actually, it might be easier to actually put the sort of mossy cobblestone in first, and then just fill it in. Yeah, it's looking good. Alright. So you can see I'm only putting the mossy cobblestone in the front 2 rows, and that's because at the back here is where I'm planning to actually put the sugarcane. Like, is that right? No, 1, 2. Like so. Okay, that's looking pretty good. 1, 2, yeah. Okay, so now let's grab some andesite, and we'll sort of finish off this like so. And so what I've done here is created a what's the word? Yeah, channel for the water to sort of push the items into this hopper chain in the middle. So I'll go around and do that on the other side as well. Yeah, I'll do it like that. And then yeah, let's grab some stone brick, some mossy stone brick, just to finish this off. So I've gone one wider than the sand here, just because I found when I was testing this, sometimes the sugarcane would end up over here, so it's just come that one block wider, and I found that sort of 2 blocks in front and 1 block wide was enough to pick up pretty much most of the sugarcane that was sort of coming out of the farm, so that's good. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. Put some of that mossy stone brick in there as well, like so. Perfect. Okay, so now's a good time to grab the water, and what we're going to do is just put one there and one there. That will push all the items over those hoppers and come and refill the buckets, and do that at the other end as well. Perfect. Now you see it's kind of not flowing just over the hoppers, but that doesn't matter because the items will sort of flow into that space and then get picked up immediately by the hoppers. So I'm going to finish that up on the other side and sleep, and then we'll continue. Alrighty, so the other nice thing about using the water streams for the item collection is the to grow the sugarcane, the sand or dirt block needs to be adjacent to water, so the collection stream is also hydrating the sand for the sugarcane to grow, which is good. So now we're going to put in a layer of cobble sort of up in behind the sand, like so. It's looking good. And we'll do that on the other side as well. So this is the block where our sugarcane will be growing. Going like that. That's starting to look pretty good. And now we're ready to put in the pistons that will knock the top of the sugarcane off. So let's grab those. Now, a lot of the more modern designs that I've seen of these farms will use a row of pistons like I'm putting in here, but then they'll put observers up on top, and so the moment the oops, I've got one too many there. And so the moment the sugarcane grows to the 3rd height, the observer will fire, and then the piston will sort of harvest it. The disadvantage of that is that you can't turn it off, and so if at any point in time you decide that you've got enough sugarcane and you don't want the farm sort of putting load on your server, it's always on. So I'm going to go with a 2-high piston design, like so, and oops, I must be careful as I do this. And I'm going to use a redstone clock that I can turn off when I'm done with it. So that way, yeah, I just won't have too many farms sort of putting load on the server and lagging things up. Alright, so I'm going to continue the other side of this, and then we'll look at running some redstone in between. Alrighty, so I finished off the pistons, and then I've just put a line of this granite that I use to sort of put in as a block where you can't see it, but it's sort of underneath the redstone. I'm going to come up top here and just run a line of redstone dust along the top, and then hopefully we can just give this a quick test. If we just craft a lever real quick. So if I go like that looks pretty good to me. So yeah, it's going to just push all the sugarcane off into the water streams. Should be good. Excellent. Okay, so I think at this point we can definitely plant out the sugarcane. So we'll just move it along. So we can start growing. Excellent. And now we have, I guess, some finishing off to do just to make it look a little bit more presentable around the outside. And then we need to hook up some redstone in the middle and make this storage area just a little bit bigger. Yeah. So I'm going to start by framing out where the sugarcane grows by adding some stone bricks. I'm going to do that from here to start with, and then I'll go up top and sort of finish that off. And this is just to help when the pistons fire to make sure the sugarcane comes out the front and doesn't sort of go sideways. So hopefully that'll work well. So I'm just throwing in that occasional mossy brick, which will hopefully end up looking good when we're done. But time will tell. And just finish that up on this side. Alright, how's that looking? Yeah, that's pretty good. So now we're going to do the same thing again with andesite. Just to give it that little bit of extra depth. Yeah. And I might do the rest of the outside of the build in the third person time, so enjoy. So this is starting to come together. To talk through a little bit about what I've done. So you can see I've kind of continued that andesite frame around just to give that little bit of depth. Used the spruce sort of supporting fence that I've been using elsewhere in my other builds, and also put just a little fence around the front just to stop people accidentally wandering into it. It's a bit of a risk that things might sort of wander in over these blocks, but we'll worry about that if and when it happens. But yeah, actually, I wonder if that stopped things from going over it. Hard to say. But anyway, it's interesting. Yeah, and I've used some lanterns just for a little bit to light it up a little bit. Around on the ends, I've gone with this stone fence, stone brick fence to give it a little bit more depth. Buttons, yeah, you might have gotten the distinct impression by now that I really like adding buttons to things just for decoration, and yeah, this build is no exception. And I've got these doors at either end, so at this end, this is probably the more accessible end. I think that path is probably going to continue up through here, and I think down there's like a little valley that goes down to the spawn area, so we'll kind of bring that path around here, and this end will be the easiest one to access, so this is why I've kind of put the chest on this side. And the other end, there's that other doorway that I've put in, and this is to come in and access the redstone that will be actually running this thing. So we've got a little bit of work left to do here, so I think the first thing I want to do, see, the only other thing that I wanted to mention in terms of the aesthetics of this thing from the outside, it's a little bit square, and again I think having some trees around that is going to help break that up a little bit. And it's also very sort of flat sitting into that sort of grassy area of terraform, and I'm wondering if I just kind of expose a little bit more of it here and there, whether that's just going to help make it look a little bit less flat. Oh yeah, that definitely has helped a little bit, so I might even do a little bit more of that. Just so it's kind of sort of more sitting naturally in the terrain a bit. Yeah, I like that. So I might do a bit of that on the other side as well. Awesome. Alright, so the next thing to do is to come in here and have a look at fixing this chamber up and making it look good. That might mean replacing one or two of these granite blocks with something that's going to blend in a little bit more, and then bringing the roof down. And we're definitely going to need some stairs in here, sort of coming down to a few more stacks of chests. So let's give that a go and see what it ends up looking like. So I've dug this out and put another 2 double chests underneath the first one, and put some hoppers in, so these hoppers will pull the items all the way down to the bottom and put them in here first, and then when this chest fills up, it'll back up and then start filling up this chest and then this chest. So that should be plenty of storage for the scale of this farm. You know, if it gets to a point where these start filling up, I'd probably move the contents down to my main storage cave. So that's looking good. I've cleared out the space around the chests. I'm in 2 minds whether to go with the wood that I've used in my storage cave, which might look good. Yeah, let's give that a go. We'll see what it looks like. So I'll surround that with wood and maybe put in some stone stairs or andesite stairs, and just and maybe try and put some stair blocks in to hide the sand and bring the roof down a bit. So yeah, I'll have a play and see what I can get this looking like. So this is looking really good now. I've got this little stairway that comes down. Kind of went with the same andesite stairs that I've been using in front of the storage, just to show that little bit of plank underneath the chest as well, and then just continued it up along the stairs. Used a lantern on a barrel just to light the area. Yeah, pretty good. So now we need to come around the other side and look at how we're going to go about getting this redstone working. So basically we need to power that top section of redstone, and I'm just going to run a redstone torch ladder up, and then we'll dig out a little bit of area down here where we'll actually fit in that hopper clock that we can turn on and off to actually cause the pistons to fire periodically. So I will dig out a space here for us to do that, and then we'll get on with having some fun with redstone. So I'm just heading down to the slime farm to see how it's going, because we need some slime for the sticky pistons, and it is going exceedingly well. Yeah, that's probably more slime than I'm going to need for the series, but yeah. If you haven't seen this episode, definitely check it out on my channel. I had a lot of fun building a slime farm. Alright, so it's... Oops. Ouch, where did you come from? Shoot. Shoot. Ah, zombies in armor. Ooh. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'll hang on to that. So I've done a little bit of digging down here, and we now have some space for this circuit. So the plan is to have a hopper clock here. It's then going to feed through a rising edge detector into a pulse extender, and then that signal will go up and fire the pistons. So I'll kind of talk that through as we do it. So to start with, we need our hopper clock. So the way we build this is by putting down 2 pistons, and we'll need some redstone dust at the far end of these. We'll put down a temporary block, say here, and chuck in a hopper, and then another hopper pointing back into that hopper. And we'll get some comparators coming out of those, like so, feeding into a block, like that. And the last thing we're missing is a block of redstone. And we also need to put some items in here. What do we have? Dirt. So I'm just going to put 64 dirt in there. So the way this works is the redstone block will lock off this hopper, while this one empties all its contents into it, at which point it'll switch over and do the same thing back again. So that stack of dirt will sort of flip back and forward between these 2 hoppers. And at the same time, this redstone block will move back and forward. And what that means is we can, like you just saw there, so when it's in this position, it'll be firing, lighting this bit of redstone dust up. And when it's over here, this redstone dust will be off. It's also worth noting we can sort of lock that by just powering one of the hoppers. So if I turn this switch on, this hopper just locks out and the whole thing just stops. So if we did need to stop the circuit, that's how we'd do it. But we'll leave it on for the time being, so I'll just keep firing. Now the next thing we want to do is we want those pistons to fire periodically, and so we don't want them on half the time, because if they're on half the time then the sugarcane won't be able to grow up into the space where the pistons are. So we need to sort of take a pulse out of this hopper clock, and we're going to do that with a rising edge detector. So I'm putting a piston there, like so, and you'll see when that powers on, it goes up, and I'm going to put a, whoops, that's a comparator, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a repeater there. I'm going to put that on 1 tick. I'm not sure if that's necessary, but it's a little bit of delay. And what will happen is when this redstone dust lights up, for a moment it'll be feeding power into this block, and that signal will be pulled out by the repeater. But shortly afterwards, the block will raise and the repeater will turn off, and so we'll just get a little pulse that will come out of this whenever this redstone dust turns on. Now, in order for the sugarcane to get pushed out, we want to make this pulse just last a little bit longer. So I'm going to feed that into a pulse extender using basically 2 comparators. So this will just extend that pulse a little bit by providing a little feedback loop between the 2 comparators. And then I'm feeding that circuit into this redstone torch tower, so that when this block is powered, the pistons will fire. Yeah. So we now have to just wait for all of this dirt to accumulate out into this hopper and this redstone block to fire back, and we'll see that a short pulse will fire through the through this circuit, which will be extended a little bit, and it will just, we'll leave this on for just long enough for all the sugarcane to get pushed out into that water stream. So it should be, yeah, there it goes. Yeah, just like that. So you saw it sort of lit up, and then it slowly faded over a couple of seconds while I just kept that block powered. So we might head up for the next firing and see if we can't see what it actually looks like. So we can see here there's some sugarcane that's ready to go, and shortly it'll fire again. So let's just wait for that. And there it goes, and there goes the sugarcane. And so that'll then go down into this storage system here, and we can see we're already starting to get some sugarcane, and I managed to kill a spider as well. Yeah. So, ooh, new recipes. Exciting. So that's one fully operational sugarcane farm. I think the only thing left to do is to provide a little bit of more terraforming around it to sort of blend it in with the terrain a little bit, put a bit more of that spruce and lighting around it. So I'm going to get on with that, and then yeah, we'll see how it looks. So this is starting to come together. I've kept the path going sort of up the hill here, up a little stair, and around the front of the sugarcane farm, and then I've gone and put some more spruce trees, some lighting with pumpkins underneath the leaves. Yeah, just sort of blended it into the terrain, which I think has made a massive difference for how this is sort of sitting. Yeah, I'm really happy with how that's come together. I've also put a little bit more dirt in that hopper clock just so it goes off a little less frequently. And already we're starting to sort of get a little bit of sugarcane coming in, so hopefully it won't be too long before we have more than enough sugarcane there for making the paper that we need. So, yeah, what else has been happening just before we wrap up? I've done a little bit of interior decorating up in the house, not too much. And this is, to be honest, one of the areas where I kind of struggle with, but I've gone with a sort of black carpet, stripped oak and spruce, sort of checkered ceiling, more of that sort of spruce fence detailing with buttons. I'd love to know what you think of the bed. I can't tell if it's awesome or not that great, but yeah, it's alright, I guess. And of course gone with paintings on the walls. Yeah, they I don't know, they just fill in the space, I guess. So I'm sure over time I'll have things that I'll add to some of these spaces, but for now I'm just trying to get it to a point where it's looking vaguely finished. So I'm just sort of, as a side project, slowly working my way through trying to finish things off. Other than that, I don't think too much has changed. We saw the slime farm was working really well earlier, and I think the only other thing worth noting is the yeah, I've been busy collecting resources, so you can see the strip mine is getting bigger, and you get back up to the storage cave. Have a quick look at how we're going for supplies. We have plenty of redstone, up to 43 diamonds, which is good. Plenty of lapis for enchanting. I think the main thing that's driving me for doing the mining is iron, so at some point getting an iron farm would be good. If you've been following the snapshot updates, you'll see that the iron golem generations changed again. So I've taken down the videos that I had talking about the early snapshots for 1.14 and how they work, because it's completely different now. So maybe I'll put something up about that when I actually get to the point of making an iron farm in this series. But yeah, in terms of next episode, I think hopefully we'll continue with working towards getting the enchantment. Although I do have this very snazzy golden enchanted chest that I got off that baby zombie. But yeah, I think an enchanting table of some description somewhere is definitely on the cards. So if you like this video, please leave a like, and if you're keen to catch the next one, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so you're notified when it's out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.